Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having steamed vegetables and chicken breast. Let's talk about when people give this silly line, you have to try something to know if it works. Or how do you know if you haven't tried it? And I actually really hate this line because it makes this implication that you're not open-minded. Because most good coaches and most good athletes are open-minded to new methods if they have merit behind it. If they have merit behind it. And just because one person got good results implementing something doesn't mean that you can afford to waste 6 months of your life trying it. Because that's the problem with some of these things. Sometimes people want you to try big things. Well, have you tried this entire training style? How can you say it doesn't work? Well, we can look at basic science on muscle growth and programming and all the data we have done by many good coaches, implemented by many good coaches, who again even give the researchers the ideas of what to study, who've compared things and go, well, does it meet the paradigms of what we know the human body responds to? In other words, if it's in an area that we've already studied and it produced inferior results in the lab repeatedly, so much so that most good coaches have abandoned it, then no, we don't need to try it. We know that it might work, it just doesn't work as well as other things. And if that's the case, why would you need to do that? And a lot of it, people will say, well, if you haven't tried it, you don't know if it works. And they'll be suggesting something that has literally been studied in the lab already. I mean, this is why we do studies, to go to see if this stuff actually works. I mean, I can give you tons of examples. Doing only mid-range partials, right? Deliberately trimming range of motion out on all your exercises. Not one of them, because occasionally there can be some merit to partials, on a single movement. There's joint angle specificity and stuff. You get certain performance carryover, right? There can be merit to these things. You shouldn't be doing it on all your exercises. Another example, pre-exhaustion for hypertrophy. Good science will say it about that. It's like it's been tried in the lab. It causes less muscle growth. When you pre-exhaust a muscle compared to doing the big movement first and then the small movement later, it's completely separate sets. Which one do you think caused more muscle growth in the lab? The pre-exhaustion caused the least muscle growth. Why would you need to try it? We know it doesn't work. This champion bodybuilder did it. Yeah, he might have been bigger had he done something better. Also, at a certain point, when you're that genetically gifted and you're using enough anabolics, you're going to get big no matter what, as long as they're training hard. They only have to, as long as they train hard, they're good. It can be stuff with diet. Have you tried this? What does the research say? We have real good information on diet these days. We don't always know everything about gut health and diet and certain elements of health and diet. A lot of that's still being studied. But when it comes to body composition, gaining muscle, losing body fat, right? Athletic performance, science is overwhelmingly good. It's sound right now. And it works, and plenty of champions in every sport in the world apply this and win. They apply the modern science. If they're good sports teams, they have nutritionists and dietitians who know the science, the current literature, right? It's applied. Or, let's say it's stuff we haven't studied. People say, well, science hasn't studied all this. That's true. Who's recommending it? All right. You'll see people who will make suggestions. Well, you could do this, and how do you know? You need to try this. You need to work with a trap bar deadlift. It might help your normal deadlift, and it'll do this and that. Really, you go talk to some of the best strength coaches in the world. Like, yeah, we tried it. It doesn't work. See, that's the other beauty of having a knowledge resource out there. If you look at what the best coaches are saying. Look at what the best coaches are saying. Listen to their experience. I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, you could use Louis Simmons as a great example for strength coaching, given the number of champions he coaches in a dozen different sports, not just powerlifting, not just the 100 world record holders he coached. He's got an enormous base of athletes to test stuff on, and he has tested stuff. And a lot of times you just look over and say, oh, okay, well, what do some of these other coaches say? Have they tried this method already? Because this guy on YouTube, this one fit pro, who's maybe okay, he's not the best in the world, he hasn't won anything at the world level. Okay, does he coach? Because that's the other thing, not everyone's got the genetics to win. Right? Does he coach? How many people does he coach? Not coaching anybody. That coaching is not his full-time profession. You get an influencer who coaching is not their full-time job. And they say, hey, you should try this, is what I use. And people say, well, you have to try it. Why don't you go see what all the best coaches in the world say? Go see if they have tried it with their athletes already. You'd be surprised how often they have, and they come back and go, it doesn't work that well. Or they flat tell you it doesn't work. Again, the beauty of having access to knowledge. There's a reason I'm a good coach. There's a reason my clients get phenomenal results. And I've shown plenty of examples. People can't deny it while being honest with themselves still. You know why? Because I stand on the shoulders of giants. You look at what the best of the best have already tried and what they do. And look at what they've figured out that works. Okay? And just because someone's your favorite influencer doesn't mean that they're the best of the best. It just doesn't. But you look at what these people are doing, right? It will give you a knowledge base to work from. And really, you shouldn't be trying new things at all. If you're not a coach yourself, there's no point in trying new things. Go look at what the best coaches have already done. I sometimes take my lifters and compare these things. Sure, and I'll take 5 of my lifters and do one thing to compare with another, and 5 to do another, and plot their results and see which ones get there faster or have the least problems. Okay, that tells me a lot. We run experiments like that, and most coaches do that. Part of coaching. That's why as a coach, you're going to have a much larger knowledge base much more quickly than the person who just trains and tests stuff on themselves. Because we got test subjects. It lets us figure these things out. But no, you don't have to try every new thing that comes along. We don't have time for that. We have to use the knowledge base that we have and use what works, unless you want to spend years wasting your time and spinning your wheels. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.